Hi, today we're going to go over changing to an ATQ short shift kit. This particular kit comes with a fantastic custom-made shift knob that's really heavy and feels great in the palm of your hand, and has a great finish. Of course, it comes with the short shifter itself, and it comes with the bushings that you need, the rear bushings and the front bushings, which really take up some of the slack. So of course, first thing you need to do is jack up the car, go underneath it, and take the rubber boot off, and you'll see the shifter assembly with the drive shaft and exhaust in the way. Its room's kind of tight, but you got to get these clips off so you can get the front part of the shift rod out. You need a long screwdriver, and you guys got to be a little patient, and you can get this off. Then they just pull right out. Next, to buy yourself a little bit of more room, we drop the transmission mount. That way the transmission drops by about an inch or so, and you'll have a little bit of room. Every little bit helps so that you can get to everything, because no matter what you do, it's still a little bit tight, but you can still, if you do this, it'll buy you a little bit more room so you can get to things a little bit better. So now here's our shifter, the stock one on the right and the ATQ on the left. You'll see the difference in length. The rear transmission mount has two little 6mm screws, nuts that you put on, and they mount really easy to this plate. Just make sure you tighten them, not too tight of course, not to break them. Put these in place. Then you have to pop out the stock rubber bushings from the mount itself. These just push right out. You can push them out with a screwdriver, and then you can put these nice orange ones in that are a lot firmer than the stock ones that take out some of the play in there, which results in those vague shifts that we all hate in our Genesis Coupes.
And there's a rod that goes through here.
So be sure to mount this with the transmission mount facing the back. Put the rubber boot back on, and then put it in the hole with the 4 nuts holding them down. So it's a lot easier assembling the shifter rod and everything out of the car and installing it as one piece. There's different, everybody has different techniques, but we figured this is the easiest way to do it to make sure it's done right. So install everything, put the ring back on, securing the shifter, and put the 2 screws. These are also 6mm bolts that hold it in. Because you could do this underneath the car upside down, but it's going to be extremely difficult and frustrating. It can be done, but this is a lot easier. There you go. Just make sure the bolts are tight, and of course not too tight. And there you have it, the final assembly, and you can test it out of the car so you know everything works and there's nothing wrong with it. Now all we have to do is put this in the car. We decided to take the drive shaft and exhaust off. Keep in mind these bolts, 3 of them are reverse thread, so they're opposite to take them off, so be careful with that. Don't break anything. The drive shaft comes off pretty easy. You have to take the heat shield off and the exhaust off, but it's not too hard. And once you get everything out of the way, there's a lot more room, so you can make sure you do a good job of this and not have to fight it. So put the rear mount in, the rear mount, and the front ones also go in, and then the clips go right in the holes, right where you see the orange, and then there's the dust boost. Next step was the shift boot. The shift boot came also from ATQ, and it's beautiful. Even though the factory one they give you is leather, is really nice, but we really like the suede one that ATQ made for us. It's black suede with red stitching, really goes well with the look of our car. So we really wanted that in, adds a really sporty touch. To get this off, you have this plastic trim piece on the bottom, and the factory glues this together, so you have to be kind of patient to pull this out of the glue, because you need the little clips that hold this in place. So be very careful with this, because it's thin plastic and you can easily break the tabs as you're wrestling with it. So take your time, go slowly around these things, and you will manage to get all these things off. So when you're done, this is what you'll end up with. You can get rid of the stock boot and shifter, and you'll end up with this piece here. And then all you have to do is put the new suede ATQ piece on there. It has holes already in it to go around these little tabs. It's of course a tight fit, so once again, be careful not to break the little plastic or rip the suede material. Takes a little bit of patience to make sure you do a good job. You could, if you wanted to, you could also add some adhesive on there, just like the factory does, but we weren't going to have any problems, so we decided not to do the adhesive and see how it goes without it, since adding some glue in there tends to sometimes make things a little bit messy. Once you have everything in, just fold everything over, and there you have it. Looks really nice, adds a really nice touch to the interior. Now all you have to do is just clip it in to the factory mounting holes. The suede is a little bit thicker than the factory material, so you need a little bit extra force to get it to clip, but it's not too bad. Next, it's time to actually put the shift boot in the car. Just clip it in. The shift knob just threads in. Our car was a 15, so we didn't have the screw-in shifter, so it was really nice to actually get the screw-in shifter back on. If you don't know, that 15 and 16 cars have shift knobs that just get pressed on, that are kind of a pain in the butt to deal with. but the shifter goes on and it feels fantastic. Now all we have to do is work on cleaning some of the interior parts that are worn out, and we'll be ready. Thank you for watching.